So thanks for arranging this and meeting with Dr. Bollard today. As you know, Dr. Bollard is the Executive Director of the APEC Secretariat in Singapore, and he looks after the APEC process. I think we were told that there are some questions from the Philippines media. Is there someone who wants to lead off?
Sir, what will be the major gains that the Philippines can get from this APEC summit this year, 2014, especially that it will be held next year in our country?
Can you say your
I'm
name?
Ann Masbanas from 85 Manila. What will be the major gains that the Philippines can get from this APEC 2014?
From this year? Well, the major gains will be next year, but from this year, it's been a very busy year. It's been a very active agenda, and of course we're talking about the APEC region with 21 economies, which has got now most of the world's economy and almost all the world's growth. And so we've had a lot of work focused on what are the new growth drivers. Philippines has been growing well, but we know that that all depends on continuing trade growth around the region. And so there's been a number of initiatives about where will we find new growth drivers, what are the effects of things like urbanisation, internet, green economy, blue economy, role of small businesses, role of women in the economy. And so a number of exploratory things there. We've starting work on a very big connectivity exercise. So that's partly about joining up infrastructure and getting better funding for infrastructure, which of course is important to Philippines. Also continuing a number of ways of what we call trade facilitation, reducing red tape at the borders, but also working out how we can make use of modern advances in electronic commerce to get goods and services across borders. And thirdly, how to make it easier for people to move across borders, and that is important for the Philippines, definitely. In addition, we have agreed to do a study on free trade area for Asia and the Pacific that will report back in 2 years. That's potentially important, but some way for the future.
What do you expect the Philippines to contribute for this summit?
Sorry, can you shout out a bit?
What do you expect the Philippines to contribute to this summit
This year or next year?
this year?
Well, already Philippines has been contributing right through the year. We've had 300 meetings this year, and so we've seen Philippines very active in a number of those. Some of them are like our emergency preparedness working group, where Philippines has had a lot of experience of planning with disasters and how to get more resilience. Some of it is how to make sure that small businesses can operate better through global supply chains, even with natural disasters. Philippines has been very active in both those particular areas. But generally, we've seen Philippines active right through the programs. And I would also point to the work that's being done in the business arm of APEC, that's called APEC Business Advisory Council, ABAC, particularly some ideas that Philippines has had for increasing labour mobility and working out how we can get people through borders for particular skill groups more easily.
Efforts on the agenda of this year's APEC. I read reports that
Sorry, you'll have to shout. I'm getting quite a lot of noise.
I heard that how high is the anti-corruption efforts on the agenda of this year's APEC? Because I read that they're going to endorse a new plan to combat corruption vis-a-vis the economic reforms that World Economic Summit.
Yeah, we're expecting leaders to announce a Beijing declaration on anti-corruption. It's actually been led from two angles, from China and also from the United States. It's aiming to, first of all, clarify principles of how we deal with anti-corruption. And for APEC, what's important is not just domestic economies, but how things go across borders. So the focus is on getting together enforcement agencies to deal with corruption issues on a common basis, to understand the principles that they would follow for that, to work out where they can swap data and information on particular cases, to help them pursue cases if they're going across borders, and to help prosecution, and indeed to also help asset recovery. If, for example, there's been some corruption case in one economy and the people involved have moved their assets over to another economy, to help get those assets back again.
So we cannot expect any political issue to crop up.
Any one issue?
Any political issue to crop up, like maritime disputes.
Well, we've got two angles on it. One is policy, agreeing policy across all the economies, where we're looking for common standards. The other is enforcement agencies. There's no direct political involvement in any of that. This is looking for the investigation and prosecution agencies for each economy to come together and meet. Haven't really done that much in APEC before, so it's a little bit pioneering to see how that works. But that's not particularly political. That will be like the policing agencies in the different economies coming together on that. But it still has to meet individual economies' own domestic laws. Nothing will happen that doesn't meet those laws.
I'm Ray Matinas of Bollard, Philippines. I understand yesterday there is already a statement of, a sort of a statement, an agreement to Japan and Chinese government to pursue their dialogues on disputed islands. Do you also, as involved in business, in economy development, which also in one way or the other could affect the region? Do you also welcome, if any, there would be any such this smoothened or better condition agreement or whatsoever between the Philippines and China in our own tension in the West Philippine Sea?
The only things that get covered formally in APEC are economic. So actually we haven't had any discussion formally around the table. There's been no discussion that I've been present at on those sort of political issues. They're entirely on economic issues. They're entirely on opening up and connecting up the region. That's because everybody from all the economies over the years have realised how valuable that can be, so people haven't brought political issues onto that table. Ministers can go and have their own, we call bilateral meetings, side meetings. You'd have to talk to them. I don't know what goes on in those meetings. But the formal stuff is purely economic.
But do you agree when I say that economic activities could be in a better environment if this, in the region, all tensions should be set aside?
Well, we only have a view about economic matters and economic integration. So we're looking for cooperation economically, we're looking for connectiveness, we're looking for integration, we're looking for common standards, all those things. That's the only place where we have an opinion on these.
Marlo Dalisay from Abante newspaper in the Philippines. How would you rate the Philippines' preparation for this event next year? 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest.
The preparation by the Philippines looks to be very advanced. They've been talking to us for the last couple of years, not just this year. There's been a number of visits to and fro. They've been observing China and I think Indonesia last year. And we've been doing workshops assisting in Manila as well. So we're very confident. It's looking very organised. I'm hearing about Plan A and Plan B and even Plan C where necessary. So I'd rate it very high.
Is President Obama will be attending this year's summit?
We're expecting all the economic leaders to attend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Look forward to seeing you next year.